I will be speaking about a potential World War trigger. I will be discussing the September 10th address to the nation by President Barack Obama, the New World Order's attempt at invading Syria in 2013, President Vladimir Putin's attempts at de-escalating tensions in the Middle East, the Syrian, Russian, and New World Order conflict, the American people's awakening to the issues of the Middle East, and my conclusions. On September 10th, 2014, President Barack Obama addressed the American people and informed us that he would be taking the U.S. military into combat against the Islamic State. The Islamic State is attempting to create a caliphate, which is a state that is governed by a religious leader. Currently, they have footholds in Iraq and Syria. In response to this address to the American people, the Russian government has attempted to dissuade the American politicians, the American government, from invading Syria. This was released in a BBC article titled, "Russia Warns U.S. Against Strikes on the Islamic State." The New World Order can be best described as a one-world system or a one-world government, an attempt to bring all nations under the governance of one entity. They attempted, the individuals who are attempting to create this New World Order, attempted to invade Syria in 2013. This attempt failed. In an article titled "The War on Syria, the September 2013 military standoff between five U.S. destroyers and a Russian flotilla in the Eastern Mediterranean by the news organization called the Global Research. It describes how 5 U.S. destroyers anchored off of the eastern part of the Cape of Good Hope in an attempt to launch Tomahawk missiles into Syria to attack the Assad regime so that they can oust him and presumably put another puppet regime in its place. A Russian flotilla was dispatched by Vladimir Putin to intercept this naval contingent, and there are reports that suggest that 2 Tomahawk missiles were launched at Syria and intercepted by this Russian flotilla. This forced Barack Obama to make a difficult decision, and he decided to back off. This was also due to a great deal of the lack of support from American people and from the international community in general. Prior to this standoff, Vladimir Putin sent a public article to the New York Times for all the American people to see. It was titled "A Plea for Caution from Russia." A little bit of that article I will read for you. Quote, "The potential strike by the United States against Syria, despite strong opposition from many countries and many political and religious leaders, including the Pope, will result in more innocent victims and escalating, potentially spreading the conflict far beyond Syrian lands. It is alarming that the military intervention in internal conflicts in foreign countries has become commonplace for the United States. Is it in America's long-term interests? I don't think so. Millions around the world increasingly see America not as a model of democracy, but as relying solely on brute force, cobbling coalitions together under the slogan, "You're either with us or you're against us." Vladimir Putin has spent a great deal of time trying to de-escalate tensions between the U.S. and the Middle East, whether it be Syria or Iran or even the current leaders of Afghanistan and Iraq. The New World Order has been attempting to go into these areas for some time, and with Russia and China's assistance, they have managed to hold off these incursions to some degree. In Istanbul, Turkey, 2007, at an AK Bank convention, Henry Kissinger was quoted as saying, "What we in America call terrorists are really people that reject the international system." My bad. What we in America call terrorists are really people that reject the international system. Well, that can be a lot of factions, a lot of peoples can be described as opposing this international system. Even a great percentage of Americans disagree with the philosophy of the politicians in the New World Order. The American people are waking up. They know that things are not as they are said to be in the news, and that there are a lot of fallacies being portrayed in the attempt to get American support and the support of NATO countries to create these coalitions to go into these countries. It is my belief that if we do not stand together in solidarity against this New World Order, that we will find ourselves in another world war, and with a great likelihood it could start with this invasion in Syria that Russia and Vladimir Putin and China have all denounced. I thank you for listening to my speech.